So, one person that super chatted Alex tonight during his live stream of Monday Night Raw, basically his Raw review, along with other topics. And they asked the question of who they think could replace Vince McMahon. And Alex's answer straight up was Stephanie, his daughter, who right now is serving as interim CEO and chairwoman of the company, while her father is still serving as head of creative. But that may not be for much longer because of mostly all the other information that's come out about these allegations over the past decade and a half, if not more. But apparently, from what people have been reporting, to the likes of a Sean Ross Sapp, a Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, to the Madman podcast and such, and Dave Meltzer, it sounds like Stephanie is being welcomely received as a breath of fresh air. Like, this is what's needed, or at least this is the first step in what's needed to basically reboot the company in the direction it needs to be in. And honestly, do I think Stephanie's the one to take over? Do I think she'd be the best choice? Absolutely. I've always felt that, if anybody was going to get the keys to the kingdom, as Vince once told them on television, it was going to be Stephanie. It's going to be Stephanie Triple H. And why do I believe that? Because when you look at Stephanie, I know it's a strange comparison to make, but she's kind of like the female equivalent of a Tony Khan. That's what she is. She's the female equivalent of a Tony Khan. She understands, what the audience of today, wants. She understands what the fans want. And she knows, obviously, that she, to make that happen, she has to put the right people in those certain positions to make that a reality. And if her father eventually has to step away from creative very soon, because of these recent allegations added on to the previous ones, then yeah, Triple H stepping in and taking over for creative, or at least somebody that Triple H suggests could step in and do a decent job, kind of, reboot the creativeness, the storylineness, and the brandness of Raw and SmackDown and NXT in the right direction, then yeah, I totally feel that Stephanie is the right person to take over, because I could see her making these kind of decisions. I really can. I mean, right now, the person that's in charge of talent relations, head of talent relations from an interim standpoint, is Bruce Pritchard. Now, you might think, well, Bruce is just going to do what, John Laurinaitis did, if not worse. And a lot of people are more, if not just as much pissed off at the fact that he's running things now, as much as they were about Laurinaitis, I should say. But here's the thing. Bruce might be in charge, but you notice that if there's any budget cuts going on, any releases happening, even though people will hear about them, they're not as notable. They're not as notable as some other names being released through budget cuts have been. And I think it's because of the fact that Bruce knows that with Stephanie running things now and Triple H kind of like by her side, yeah, you might want to be a little more careful about who you consider cutting, because the more you cut, the more you reduce the roster overall. So, yeah, I think what Bruce is doing, if he is trying to cut anybody, is he's trying to cut those in the classes that they're putting together at the Performance Center, because maybe they just don't have the passion that they're hoping for them to have. Who knows? But besides that, we haven't really noticed him doing anything, because, again, I think he realizes that first of all, I think he's got to get the approval of Stephanie, just like Laurinaitis had to get the approval from Vince to do these budget cuts or these releases. And I think Bruce realizes that if he is looking at certain talent, if you will, to cut, that Stephanie and by extension Triple H will not go for it. And they'll say, no, you're not letting that person go. We need them. So that's why I don't think you're noticing as much major names or semi-notable names being released, recently, since Stephanie's taken charge. The other thing people point out is the fact that Triple H, recently had that meeting at the Performance Center with the NXT group and said he's back. What that means, we don't know. Does that have anything to do with the QR code and numbers that they've been flashing and everything over the past week or so on NXT 2.0? Does that have any correlation with each other? Can't say. But to see that Triple H seemingly might be coming back in some capacity, and this QR code is connected to that, maybe, again, is another example why folks are happy Stephanie's running things and want her to run it not just on a continuously interim basis, but on a continuously permanent basis. And it's not just the fans. It's not people like Alex or JD or Solomonster or even myself. It's everybody at WWE, apparently, because like I mentioned earlier, and everybody took a note about this, her being there is like a breath of fresh air. Folks love Stephanie. The wrestlers, the people at the Stanford offices, the people behind the scenes, they love having Stephanie there because she is a breath of fresh air. And if Hunter, by extension, is helping run things alongside her, that's another breath of fresh air as well, because they know Hunter eventually is going to let his influence be known and seen, not just on the potential NXT product, if you will, if there's anything going on there, but eventually on Raw, SmackDown, and the premium live events, pay-per-views. They can already see that. They can already feel that will be not see, but feel that happening. They can already feel that occurring in the long run, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them for feeling that way, because if they could see that already just through a small interimship that she's going through right now, that it feels like it's a refresher, it's a rebooting of the current system into something more refined, more sensible, then yeah, I think everybody would agree within WWE, within WWE, I should say, without, outside of WWE, not without WWE, but outside of WWE, fans, alumni, legends, Hall of Famers. I think, people working for AEW now, I think, and Impact, I think they would all agree that Stephanie being in charge, with, Hunter, by extension, at her side, running things, even for a short term and maybe a permanent term, is the best thing going, and is has been long needed for the longest time. Has been long needed for the longest time. And hopefully with her running things, interim rise as well, and potentially permanently, things will get better. Is it going to get better overnight? No. I mean, the product still reflects the Vince McMahon fingerprints on it, because he's head of creative. But will it reflect it over time if Vince has to step away from creative because of these recent allegations being added on to the ones that are already there, and with the potential of more coming down the line? Yeah, the product could get better if he has to do that temporarily, and someone like Hunter steps in, or someone that Hunter could suggest to step in because they know they'll do justice for the product and help rewrite the ship in the direction it needs to be. Then yeah, I could see the product getting good. Right now, you can kind of probably sense at times that there's a few glimmers here and there, very tiny glimmers here and there of potential change, but still you have Vince's fingerprints all over. But we'll see what occurs. But yeah, if it does, in closing, I'll say this: if it does turn out that Stephanie McMahon will be the permanent CEO and chairwoman of the company, with her husband Hunter, Paul Levesque, at her side by extension, and maybe even a more prominent role besides creative, do I think Do I think it'll be a breath of fresh air? Do I think it'll help the company go in a direction that it needs to go in, and kind of rewrite the misdirection that the ship known as WWE is going on? Yeah, I do, and I hope it does happen. I hope it does happen. I know some people might say it's not going to happen because he has 81% voting power, but here's the thing: he stepped down. So when he steps down, even interim wise, all that voting power he has, doesn't it go to the person that succeeded him or that stepped in for him? Doesn't the person that's running the ship in his absence now have that 81% voting power instead of him? I don't know how that works in certain businesses, but that seems like the case to me. That seems like that would be the case, in this situation with Vince handing over the reins temporarily to Stephanie. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see, what happens. But if more allegations come out, it looks like more will be coming out down the line. Yeah, I think Vince is going to have to do more than just step away from his CEO-ness and chairmanship that he did, that he already did, and handing it over to his daughter for the time being. I think he's going to have to step away from creative. I think, honestly, this is just my speculation, but I've got a feeling that when Labor Day comes around the time Clash of the Castle takes place, around that time frame, is when it's good. Basically around that time frame, I should say, that month-long time frame building to it, for after SummerSlam. I think that is when Vince it's going to be announced that Vince, he won't be gone, but he'll be stepping away from the company for maybe the rest of the year, or at least for a couple of months, until potentially this all dies down. That's what I'm believing is going to happen. That with more allegations coming out eventually, or more information coming out through this investigation being discovered by the board and the investigative group helping them, that I've got a feeling after SummerSlam, maybe a week or so after, maybe a couple of weeks after SummerSlam, and within the month of August, building towards Clash of the Castle, that I think it's going to get announced that Vince has temporarily stepped away from WWE, for personal reasons, and we can assume, if not already know, what those personal reasons will be. Again, he won't be gone permanently like a lot of people are hoping, but he'll be gone to a point to where Hunter will probably step in, or someone will be assigned by Stephanie and Hunter to step in that they know can right the ship and steer the WWE in the right direction, from a product standpoint, to make it better, to make it more appealing, but yeah, I don't see him being gone for good. I just see him being gone temporarily until the whole thing dies down, and and he can eventually. And I do apologize if I'm stumbling on my words. It's late. I do apologize for that. It's about 12:49 in the morning. But like I said, I could see him doing something like that, and then waiting for the right time, maybe the beginning of 2023 or something like that, to make his return. I could see that. I could see that inevitably happening, with potentially more allegations coming to the forefront, more information being leaked out to the Wall Street Journal, more evidence being uncovered by the board and the investigative group, like I said earlier. I could see that happening. And again, I don't think it'll be a permanent deal like a lot of people are hoping, but it'll be just, it'll be just big enough of a deal where him temporarily stepping away, that with him on the outside looking in, hopefully that'll open up his eyes, and he'll see that, with his daughter and his son-in-law, riding the ship, running the company, and his son-in-law, whoever they choose to take Vince's place as head of creative, riding the ship or steering the ship, in the direction that it needs to be. Hopefully by, being on the outside looking in, it'll open up his eyes, so that when he comes back, he'll hopefully maybe acknowledge that he was in the wrong of running WWE the way he was, and that now that he's going to take over again, that he's going to do it the way he saw Stephanie do it, the way he saw Hunter do it, and he's going to try to hopefully keep that momentum going till WrestleMania. But again, that's just mere speculation on my part. But to me, like I said, I think in the meantime, Stephanie is still going to be running things. I really do. I think she's going to be running things until at least the end of the year, because when you look at when this is all taking place, I think the way people are viewing Vince's reaction to it, if more stuff comes out, and inevitably it will, if more stuff comes out and everything, what's going to happen is Vince is probably, like I said, going to have to step away permanently, not permanently, but temporarily from the company, to the point that when he watches and sees how things are run out from an outsider's perspective, hopefully that'll open up his eyes to where if he does, find a way to come back and take the reins again, that he'll take the reins and continue to steer the ship in the direction that it needs to be. And I think that's all going to be because of Stephanie being in charge. And by her being in charge, even up to the end of the year, that'll also open up Vince's eyes to be like, she's the one. She and Paul, they're the ones I'm going to hand the keys to the kingdom to. They're the ones that have, even during this interim situation, have proven that they are the best for the job. They're the best ones to pass the torch to run the company. But like I said, we'll just have to sit back and see what happens, find out what, and find out, along with everybody else, what other information comes out that probably keeps Vince away from his position of power a little longer, if not from the company, a lot longer than expected. But yeah, in closing, I do believe Stephanie, would be the best choice. And even if her stay right now is interim, I think the impact she's going to make, to coin a phrase, along with Hunter by his side, if it comes down to, like I said, well, Vince has to step away not completely, but temporarily from the company because of more information and allegations coming, and we know they are. Hopefully the impact that her and Paul leave will open Vince's eyes, and he'll realize, damn, everybody's liking the company better than that other company now, or they're saying the company's just as good as that other company, and the wrestlers and all of them seem to be more happy, and and everybody wants to stay and come back, and maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong in running the company the way I did. You know what? Once I come back, I'm going to continue running the ship the way these two are, because if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out on top, and I'm gonna go out by proving we are still the best damn wrestling sports entertainment company in the world. Now, do I think that will happen? No, not really, because this is Vince McMahon we're talking about, but it is something to speculate on. Because of the fact that when you're on the outside looking in, especially on something that you yourself created and made into a global phenomenon conglomerate, and you're looking at the fact that you're on the verge of losing that, and if not everything else, it is enough to open up your eyes and make you realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that, maybe I should have listened to people's advice, to the fans, and maybe, he comes back, he does continue steering the ship in the direction that people are hoping, and probably noticing Stephanie and Triple H trying to steer it in as we speak. But again, do I think that will happen, honestly? No, not really. Knowing Vince, he'll be the kind of guy that'll come back and be like, you guys did a great job and got us back on top, but you know what? We're going to go back to my way of thinking because that was more better than yours. That'd probably be the most likely thing, but we'll see what happens. I do expect her to run things at least to the end of the year, at the latest. And hopefully the beginning of the year will bring something new. And maybe Vince will open up his eyes and realize, hey, I was wrong in the way I did things, and I'm just going to do it the way they're doing it. We'll see. But yeah, I think Stephanie is the right person to replace Vince, because you can already tell people are happy to have her there. Not just, fans, but everybody within the company, people working in other companies and all that used to work for them. They're happy that she's there. And they can't wait to see what else she and Hunter and those around them bring to the table. So yeah, I think Stephanie's a better replacement, for Vince than I think anybody else right now. I really do. And you can already see it. You can already see it because, like I said, if she's only there to the end of the year and this all blows over and Vince steps back in, the impact she will make, will be so lasting that even Vince will have no choice, maybe, to at least acknowledge the positiveness she brought to the company. But again, mere speculation, and we'll see what they bring, and we'll see what they do. But yeah, I think Stephanie would be a great replacement. I think she is legitimately the one that's going to get the keys in the end permanently, even if it's by Vince retiring on his own, stepping down, handing the keys to her, or unfortunately having to be forced out. Because like I asked earlier, if he temporarily gave up control to his daughter, doesn't that mean his daughter now has that 81% of voting control that he did? That could be something. That could be something to look at. But yeah, I think overall Stephanie is a good choice. I really do. But anyways, guys, what are your thoughts? Do you think Stephanie is a good choice to take over? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Super thanks will be enabled after the premiere of the video. Super chats, super stickers, as always, will be open and appreciated during the live chat, I should say, during the premiere. Check me out at TikTok at BW Roses and at my Teespring store. Check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses and at Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2 and at Cash App at BW Roses 98. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think Stephanie is a good replacement for Vince if it comes down to it on a permanent basis, not just interim? Let us know. And until then, I'll talk to you later. And I do apologize for the slurring or rambling of my words. It's late. I'm tired. It's almost 1 in the morning. So until then, guys, I'll talk to you later.